Welcome to another episode of the Tweet Show Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chanler Tweet. On today's episode, there's going to be some tough conversations and some more light-hearted conversations. We're also going to talk about Damar Hamlin and that situation on Monday Night Football, and then we'll sort of transition to some more lighter, sort of fun conversations. So I guess with that being said, let's just start the show. So, okay. I didn't know how exactly to approach this. I was sort of like, I was going to record. So my original plan was to record yesterday and talk about the Monday night game and how it was going to be this, that, sort of break it down and all that. And then obviously that was not the case because we witnessed a scary situation with Damar Hamlin, the safety for the Buffalo Bills, the second-year player. It was like, okay, so I'll sort of give you my perspective on it and okay, so obviously the game started. We see that Tyler Boyd scored, and I saw that. And then, I don't remember because it all seemed like it was a blur. Everything just happened so, fast, or not fast, but, everything just happened all at once. It's just like, oh, my God, what's happening? So I saw that play. I saw the play where Tyler Boyd scored, and then they went to commercial. And then I specifically remember, I think I was doing something. And then I think I remember going to my room and doing something real quick. And then next thing I knew, I was back in the family room looking up and seeing or looking at the TV going, oh, I don't think and I was like, oh, dude fainted. That's weird. And then after Joe Buck and Troy Aikman went to commercial 2 straight times in a row, I was like, okay, I feel like this might not be he'll be all right. He'll just get up, and it's like, oh, this might be serious. So obviously us, the fans, couldn't see what was actually going on. We could just only see the Buffalo Bills players' reactions sort of the situation with Damar. And then it was just one of those things I don't even know. This is just one of those things you saw the reaction of the Bills players and how they were scared for Damar's life or just Damar in general, because I'm sure they were seeing the. So I'm gonna look up the timeline of all this stuff happening real quick, because let me see if I can find sort of a timeline. Damar Hamlin. So the injury happened at 8:59 or 8:55 Eastern time. And then the game got suspended at 9:18. So it was roughly 15 minutes of them just trying to, because I think the medical term is that he was in cardiac arrest or something like that, or not something like that. It was just, that's what happened, I guess. And because here's the thing. So the Bengals had the ball and he made a tackle on T. Higgins, and he was sort of almost like a routine, typical football play that usually happens most likely of the time. He gets, he tackles him, he gets right back up and just starts sort of teetering for a second, and then it just falls. And we're like, oh, that's weird. I don't see a football player just fall down just like that. So obviously that happens. And then, once all the Bills and trainers surround him, just give him some privacy and try to bring him back to life, make sure he's not dying or anything like that. And so the game got temporarily suspended, and then the ambulance left the stadium at 9:25 Eastern time. And then probably another 40 minutes later, the game got postponed until a further date. And then to talk about how the game got postponed. So at one point during the broadcast, Joe Buck said the following words that, you're going to give the players 5 minutes to warm up, which is sort of when people sort of heard that, they're like, wait, 5 minutes? You can't play this game. Now and after what just happened, you got to be concerned about the player, and you can't just play a football game after just witnessing almost somebody potentially dying or something like that. So it's we can't. I mean, I didn't really think that in the moment. I was just I don't know what. I didn't really think of anything. I was just what are they gonna do? Are they gonna play this game? because like I was like, if they played this game, I don't know. I would have. I don't even know what I would have thought. I would have been like, are they serious? Because like I guess because like at the same time they weren't giving us a whole lot of information about Damar or what his status was or anything like that. I mean, if they would have played the game, then maybe would have found out eventually. Because obviously there would have been reporters asking a bunch of people and stuff like that. But it was just like one of those like really scary things. It's like, wow, you don't really see that on a football field at all. It's some really scary stuff, I tell you. I was like, watching all the coverage to see if we can get any update on Monday. It was just like we at least get something, and we didn't get a whole lot. We just knew he was in critical conditions and that he was in the ICU and stuff like that. And he obviously left the stadium to go to the emergency room in the Cincinnati Medical Center. What's like one of the better hospitals, and luckily it was only 2 miles away from the stadium, which thank goodness. Obviously that, and I'm not gonna talk about certain people online on Twitter going, not gonna name names, but we all know who I'm talking about specifically, about how he just didn't really read the room and how he was being sort of reckless and didn't really think about the person, and it was only thinking about the game and the NFL. So like I said, I'm not gonna really go after that because it's, once again, he was just being reckless and being foolishness, and I mean he's just that kind of person anyways, so no one really respects him at this point anymore, and I don't either. I never liked him. I don't care if he ever seizes. I just don't like him, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to tell him that. Nobody's going to really want to do any more shows or talk to him really after that comment. It was just one of those like, why did you say that? Like, a man's life on the line and you're only focused on the game. It's like, dude, come on, have a little heart. And obviously, like, backtracked it. It's like that. It's like, well, I'm glad you thought of it, but like you're a little too late there. But you haven't really apologized for what you actually said. So, I'm sure you've seen on social media recently, within the past 24 hours, that he's said some other things, or not other things along with it, but hasn't really officially apologized to Damar, and it's just like, I don't know. But anyways, I'm not gonna really go too much into that, but yeah. So last we heard, here's the latest update we got from Damar, or from the Buffalo Bills account. So let me just pull that up real quick. So the latest update we got was was at 12:30 Central Time. Damar remains in the ICU in critical conditions with signs of improvement, which is great. Obviously, that's awesome. Noted yesterday and overnight. He is expected to remain under intense care of his healthcare team continues to monitor and treat him. So that's the latest we know of him, of his status and all that. So obviously that's great news. Like we said, we can continue to think and pray for him if you're that kind of person who prays and all that. And I just want to give a shout out to Ryan Clark, who did an amazing job that night. And obviously Booger and Adam Schefter and Susie Colburn, or I believe that's her name, but Susie as well, and Joe and Troy, everybody who was doing that whole coverage on Monday night did a great job of just sort of giving us of just handling the whole situation with it. Because like I feel like not a lot of people really know how to handle a situation like that with, of a football player, almost like, stuff like that. So I want to give props to them. I also want to give props to Ryan Clark. He did it. I think he really did a great job. He did, like I said, it's just a great job. If you ever if you just look on social media, I'm sure you can find clips of Ryan Clark that night, because he did a great job. He just said a lot of things that probably needed to, or not needed to be said, but he just said some wonderful stuff. So props to Ryan Clark, and him. So I'm trying to think of anything else I should say about. Oh, I do want to mention this. So obviously, if everybody, I'm sure a lot of the either sports fans or people who've been following the story that are not really sports fans have been seeing the GoFundMe page he had for his for his for his hometown. It called. Let me find the charity. Hold on, let me find it real quick. I want to make sure I get this right. So his GoFundMe page, the goal was to raise $205,000, and it's currently, let me see, it's I think they said it was, last I knew, it was like at $6 million. It's just like, holy crap, that's crazy. Oh, okay. I thought they were gonna start. Okay, never mind. I just saw something in other sports related, but never mind. I'm gonna find that tweet or his link to his charity. So give me a moment here. I'm gonna find it. See what the number is now. Now let me find it. Here we go. It's like a Christmas drive or something. Yeah. So it's called the Chasing M Foundation Community Toy Drive. So it's for his like hometown, back at his hometown, giving toys for the less fortunate children, and it's currently at $6.5 million. Obviously, the goal was at $205,000. So that's great. It's awesome stuff, and obviously we've seen a bunch of organizations and Tom Brady and Russell Wilson and just a bunch of other people donating to it. It's been real great stuff to see the people that keep, making the effort to keeping Damar's charity, do all this other great stuff. It's great stuff. So I'm gonna put the link in the descriptions in the episode. So if you want to make a donation, go right ahead. I'll put it in the descriptions and the YouTube channel, and probably in the whatever platform you're listening to, on Apple, Spotify, whatever. So I'll make sure to put that on there if you would like to either continue sharing it and letting other people know about the charity, or either make it any kind of donation you want. It can be just $1, it could be $100. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to give, that'd be great for them. So like I said, we are going to keep continuing giving our thoughts to Damar's family and his friends as well, and just Damar in general. So we're going to keep him in our thoughts, and if you're a prayer person, keep praying for him. So like I said, we're just going to keep praying for him and to make sure he recovers from this and he wakes up from his he just wakes up and he sees all the wonderful stuff that people have been saying about him and all this other stuff. So okay, so I guess that's really about it. So like I said, we're thinking about Damar and his family. So let's continue on. Let's just move on to the next segment. Okay, so like I said, if I don't remember if I mentioned this, but like obviously I wanted to do the first 10 minutes of Damar and the whole situation and all that other stuff. And then like this part now, this is sort of the come back into sort of the regular show, sort of, and talk about a little bit more about, just anything. So last we spoke, I believe, was let me find the date. Well, the last time we did an episode was my roommate Sean. That was about maybe a week ago. Let me see. The episode was in December 22, and it's currently July 4th. So it's been a hot minute since I've done a pod. So, anyways, I kind of just want to recap of what's happened so far since, I guess, December 22nd. So we are in the final weeks of the NFL season. There are a bunch of playoff scenarios that are going to happen. Obviously, the big one in the NFC is obviously the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, and the Seahawks all fighting for that 7th seed. And the AFC side is sort of a mix. There's a lot of scenarios in there. I can't keep track of all of it. And then obviously bowl season has officially wrapped up, and I just want to make a quick shout out to the Kansas Jayhawks football team for one, an unbelievable game, and two, I just want to give a quick shout out to my friend Ben because he wanted me to talk a little bit about it. So I just want to give him a quick shout out for that. Okay, so he was like, "Oh, Shannon, you should talk about the Kansas game." Like, all right, fine, I'll talk a little bit about the Kansas game. So really, I'm sure nobody wants to hear, so I'll just do like a quick 2-minute drill. So basically, Kansas was down by a shit ton of points, and they came back, and then they got into overtime, and then I also okay. So first, let me just back up a minute. They were down. The fourth quarter happens, and then like somehow they scored, and then they got the onside kick. And then once they got the onside kick, they got the touchdown. They got the 2 points, go to overtime. And then, not a lot of defense. And then obviously we get to the final third overtime where Kansas gets the ball and they draw up a play where the other quarterback in the game gets the ball. So Daniels is in the shotgun, runs towards to the left and gives it to Beans, who's a backup quarterback who he played a little bit this season because of Jaden Daniels' injuries. So they basically ran a Philly special with the backup quarterback, and then he runs to the right. He runs and he keeps running. He's looking for someone to get open, and I see there's a tight end open on that play, and then he doesn't even throw it to him. He throws it to the back of the end zone, not even remarkably close to the wide receiver. Now, originally, I was blaming Beans for this. I was like, what are they doing? Why is Beans in the game? What is happening? Why? And my good friend Ben's like, well, I agree with you. Beans probably shouldn't have been in the game. He probably shouldn't have made that throw. So I blame the coach. So I'm going to blame the coach and Beans. I'm just going to blame that entire play was just a mess. So there you go, Ben. There's your 2-minute rap about the Liberty Auto Zobo. So you're welcome, Ben. Another note, Tulane beat USC. That was a crazy game. I didn't watch the first half, but I watched like most of the second half because I was watching a show or I was watching something. I don't remember what I was watching, but I was watching Pardon My Ticket thing. So I was watching that, and then next thing I knew, I was like, oh, it's already noon. And then some of the bowl games started happening. And speaking of that, I just want to give a quick shout out to all the people who had Illinois plus 3.5. One, shame on you for taking Illinois plus 3.5 for going against a Mississippi State team who is playing for their dead coach, R.I.P. Mike Leach. But it's still bad. You're a bad person for taking that, and you deserve it because it was an all-time bad beat. Obviously, so if you want to give me a little context, so Mississippi State was up 3. Illinois was going to cover, and then obviously they did the trick plays and pitchy woo-woos and all that other stuff, and then they eventually threw it. One pass got across the field, and then a Mississippi State player picked it off and started running it to the end zone. And obviously, which that means is that Illinois did not cover the game. Touch 3 plus 6 equals not 3.5. They obviously scored and making that score 19-13, which again means that Illinois did not cover the spread. Unbelievable bad beat. Unbelievable. It was just like one of those like, damn, that was bad. Let's what else is there? I guess. Oh, we can talk a little bit about college football playoffs, obviously. So. Those were crazy games. Obviously, TCU got up early against Michigan. Obviously, the pick 6, and then the Michigan player being in but not being in. They called him down the 1-yard line. And then they fumbled it the next play, and then TCU kept. And that whole third quarter was just crazy. They were just going back and forth, and then eventually Michigan caught it within one score, and then literally, like, I think the next series, TCU, they scored on that remarkable, like, shallow cross by their best wide receiver, Quinn Johnson, I believe his name is. I don't remember, but he just catches the ball and starts running it towards the end zone. Nobody was going to catch him. And then, obviously, like, it was just one of those crazy, like, games you'll be like, wow. I'm going to remember this one for a while. Obviously, shout out to TCU for making it to the national championship. This was Big 12's first college football playoff win ever, because Oklahoma always loses, even though they keep playing all the good teams that end up winning it. So I think every time Oklahoma got in, they always had to play like Alabama or Georgia. So it's like, why do they have to keep playing that? Why do they have to keep playing the SEC? Why can't they play like Clemson or something like that? I was like, well, no, they've always had to play like Alabama or Georgia in this, or LSU. I remember the LSU year. Oh boy, that was bad. That was a bad one. Also, shout out Lincoln Riley for keep blowing these bowl games, and how he keeps getting. Even when the 2017 Rose Bowl was awesome, but his defense have been terrible. Why can't he ever just get a good defense? I don't understand it. Like, can he not recruit defensive players, and can his defensive coordinator not run a good defense? Like, I don't get it. It's crazy. Where was I at? Oh, the TCU. So yeah, TCU, congratulations on beating Michigan, which solidifies that the Big 12 is obviously better in the Big 10 in football, obviously. And then we had another remarkable game where Ohio State was up against Georgia, the defending national champions, and obviously that was a good game. And obviously we saw the emerge of C.J. Stroud. We all knew he was good, but this is like one of those games is like when if he is what he think let me rephrase that. If he is what we think he is, this is a game that he has to prove and show it for us that, solidifies he's like one of the better quarterbacks coming in the draft. And I think he proved that for sure. He obviously it helps when he has like really great wide receivers and Marvin Harrison Jr. and all those other guys. But like, I believe he was Ohio State probably should have won that game. But, when, the clock struck midnight and they missed the kick right as the good thing when it was crazy, because like there's a video out there like around that time. I think it was like the next day that somebody like linked up the ball dropping and the ball being snapped and all that, and somehow it timed up so perfectly that the ball, like as soon as the ball hit the ground, or because obviously the Ohio State kicker kicked it was not even close, and as soon as the ball hit the ground, it was midnight. It was like, wow, that's remarkable stuff. That's crazy. It's like one of those things like, wow, who would have thought that was going to happen? And like exactly at midnight, when the kicking ball got dropped, the like New Year's ball dropped. It was like perfectly timed. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So obviously we get TCU versus Georgia, and Georgia will be a touchdown favorite, which is like perfect, because I think TCU is going to win the game. I just don't see how they don't. They keep pulling off these crazy wins. They've been doing this all year. In a sense, they're almost like the Minnesota Vikings. But, like, I think they're better than the Minnesota Vikings. So, I'm trying to think what other things I should, I guess, discuss on today's episode. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to, like, think of all the things that have been happening. I'm trying to think. Oh, Donovan Mitchell had 71 points. That was crazy. Luka had a triple-double with 60 points and 20 rebounds and 10 assists. So that was also crazy. Some crazy NBA stat line. So I didn't know one, because like here's the sad part, because Donovan Mitchell scored 71, but it was also the same day as Damar Hamlin incident. So it was like it basically got overshadowed by Damar Hamlin. So, which is kind of sad. It's like, wow, he had like an awesome performance, but like people are only going to remember Damar Hamlin that day. So it's like, wow. But anyways, I'm sure Donovan will be fine and everything else. I'm sure we'll still remember that night, but it's like one of those things that's like it just happened to happen on that same night. And also like 5 other players scored like 40 points that same day too. I think like Clay, Embiid, Giannis even, I think. I don't know. There's like a couple other players that like scored like 50 or 40 plus points. So, just trying to keep thinking of other things in the sports world that's been happening. A little bit personal note, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I've had a good winter break. I'm gonna go back to my apartment here pretty soon. As you can sort of see, I'm still back in my folks' place, so I'm gonna go here pretty soon because I'm getting pretty tired of being here. I'm not gonna lie. Even though I love my folks and everything, but it's just like I need to be back in my apartment on my own. Even though I'm gonna be back at, but here's the sad thing: I'm gonna be back in that apartment, and I'm gonna get annoyed by, or not, I'm not gonna get annoyed, but I'm just gonna get annoyed that other dog that I have to live with. Maybe my roommate. We'll see. But the other roommates will be back, hopefully. I don't know. I had to review the table when he said he was gonna be back. So I know he's gonna be back either. It might be this weekend or the following weekend. That's all I know. So hopefully that's the case. All right. I was probably going to just make this a really short one, 30 minutes tops, and we're already at sort of near the 30-minute mark. I'm just trying to think of other things I should sort of mentioned. Once again, if you want to see my interview with Sean, make sure you go check out the podcast platforms on Apple and Spotify. I think I'm gonna post the actual like full length video on YouTube here today or tomorrow. I don't know. I keep pushing it back for some reason. I don't know why, but I think it's a really fun interview. And also, I've been posting some clips on TikTok, so those should be fun stuff. And maybe I'll post like I said, I'm going to post like the actual like full on interview on YouTube here soon. And I post some other clips on the YouTube channel. So make sure you check those videos out. And I think, like I said, I think that's really going to be about it. Just trying to think of other things that have happened so far. Oh, here's a couple things. I'm going to talk a little TV or just shows that I've been keeping or things I've been watching. So I just watched last night. So I watched the new Treasure Hunt series on Disney Plus. It's actually really good so far, and the new one's out today. But I have to wait for my mom because I'm sure she would like to watch it. So I watched that, and then I watched the Netflix series called Wednesday. That was really good. And let's see what other things have I watched. I'm trying to think. And the other I watched the Glass Onion, the Knives Out new movie. I actually kind of liked it. I'm sure I thought it was really good. Daniel Craig does a great job of that character. I can't think of his name right now, but the detective he plays, such a great guy, or not a great guy, but a great character. And he does a great job of solving mysteries. I tell you what. Also, the guy who sort of plays the antagonist, or I guess the billionaire in the movie. I like him as an actor, but low-key, that guy's or not the actor. I mean his character, dick. Low-key a dick. Just saying. I mean, there's a great cast. It really is. It's like one of those really great casts. So I would really recommend it to anyone out there. It's called Glass Onions on Apple, or not Apple, but Netflix. I'm trying to think of anything else I've been watching. I rewatched since I was watching Natural Treasure. I actually rewatched the movies, and like the movies still stand. Like they kind of low key still hit. Nicolas Cage does a great job. Like anytime I watch them, like always like I feel like I should just become. Anytime you like watch any of these like typical like treasure hunt movies, you just almost think like, why can't I just be a treasure hunter? But then you watch them sometimes, you're like, oh my god, I could almost potentially fucking die. So no thanks. But like they're so fun to watch. These treasure hunt movies are so fun to watch, and they're like solving mysteries. I might low key might start watching my like more mystery stuff, and like I don't know if I'll get to like the sort of the murder podcast stuff, but like I might watch more like mysteries and solving crimes and stuff like that. So, or just like sort of the treasure hunt and solving crimes things. Like I do like watching those things because it's like really interesting. Because sort of like Knives Out, that's really great, and obviously this National Treasure, and I think aren't they coming out with a third one? So I hope that's true, because if that's the case, that'd be great. I don't know what kind of plot they're gonna do with that one. I'm kind of curious. So also speaking of the second movie, is like there's like the movie is about there's like a secret book for the presidents, and all that. So I'm kind of curious if there's actually a secret book out there. Now I'm not gonna try to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not gonna try to be a conspiracy theorist, but okay, it'd be kind of cool if there was, having all these like secret things about America's like most secret stuff. They're like kind of interesting. So, all right, that's enough TV movies reviews for now. At least not that I can think of, because I feel like I think I've mentioned all the things I've watched. So yeah. So I think, okay, here we go. This is gonna be. I think that, yep, this is it for today's episode. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you may be listening to this. So make sure you subscribe and tell your friends about it. And then also follow me on the social medias. I think eventually, I keep saying this every episode, so I'm not going to say it because I'm just going to say it. Eventually, I will get an Instagram. I think I just got to be like, I think I'm going to, like, now that I think about it, I probably will, because now that if I keep continue, I like, obviously, I have these New Year's resolutions, and I sort of write them down. I did a personal one, and then a podcast goal. So I think if I get more interviews, I'm gonna post some more clips. So I think if I post like some fun clips on like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, that'd be fun stuff to watch. On get my brain out there. Get some great content. So so make sure you do all that. So follow me on. I'll put all the links to all these social media platforms like Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, and make sure to put those out there. And then make sure you, like I said, I'm going to put the link to Damar Hamlin's charity in the descriptions as well. So make sure, if you just want to keep sharing it or donate as well, just anything you want to do with it, it's right there in the description. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody listening to today's episode, and I will see you guys next time.